Nation Fit in 10, welcome to day 20 of the challenge, officially out of the teens and well on our way into this challenge. We are almost, well, what is it? Day 23 will be a third way through. So we're approaching the third way point. If you have not booked your second scan yet, please make sure you do. www.calendly.com/train on main. More of your feedback, let's get into it because there's a lot that I've got to get to, so let's get into this. How to prepare for my first Zoom resistance training. Okay, I'm going back some time here in these questions, obviously. Well, actually, let me read another one because it's similar to that. So, first lift camp, no, not that one. I'm coming from zero exercise background. Would prefer if daily email from Martina would include names of each exercises that we can click into to see the short video of how it should be done. So you should all be, well, that actually reminds me now. Maybe I haven't added you in the group. So I'm gonna do that. Do you guys not get an email? I guess you can't answer me right now. I'm gonna double check this actually. So you should get an email, and in that email, it will list all the exercises that you're going to do, and those exercises are individual hyperlinks to the video to show you exactly how to do them, okay? So stay tuned for that. I will look. It sounds to me like maybe you're not getting, no, you are getting, because it says would prefer if the daily email. Yeah, so just click on them. Those are hyperlinks. All the names of the exercises are hyperlinks. Click on them. Those are YouTube videos. They should link you to the specific video that represents the exercise. Ways to, so another question here, concern, ways to bring up heart rate to steady states. I think maybe you mean bring down heart rate to steady state? Because I mean, the steady state heart rate's not that high. So I'm assuming, and you've got, you're doing this for your warm-up, and then you're doing it in between your intervals. So I don't think it's hard getting it up. I think what you mean is probably getting it down. So anyways, you can correct me if I'm mistaken. So if you're trying to get it down within that time period between intervals, you won't. So don't worry about it. Just go the down phase between each interval, just go at the same pace as you did your warm-up. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to, but that's not what you're saying, so maybe I'm wrong. Another concern here, this person writes, deal with, this is under things that, probably something that you can improve upon or something that you need help with. This person writes, deal with heel nerve pain. All right, so this depends on what your nerve pain is caused by. So plantar fasciitis might be it. Or I think there's something called, it's like Baxter's nerve pain or something. It's got to do with a small nerve around your ankle or just around the area of the ankle that acts up, causing nerve pain. Or maybe it's something related to your lower back, or maybe there's a bone spur. So it'd be interesting to know what it is. Have you had it diagnosed? Okay, so if you have, let me know, and maybe I can help you. Another question, lower back spasm prone. I need to strengthen my gluten. I think you mean your glutes. I'm sure that's what you meant. And loosen my hamstrings and quads. Any tips? Yeah, so I think you're correct in the fact that this is probably multifaceted. When it comes to strengthening your back specifically, doing things like, and they may not feel like a whole lot, but doing things like bird dogs and dead bugs, those would be really, really good. Practicing bracing, so utilization of basically stabilization of your, for lack of better words, your core, or you can think of it as your torso. Strengthening your abdominal region, whether we're talking about transverse musculature or even your abdominals, those both play a role. So doing ab work, doing plank work, But even stabilization, overhead presses, server walks, I realize this may not mean a whole lot to you, but we will address those in class. So when they do come up, pay attention. Exercises that require a lot of stabilization through the trunk. And there's a lot of them that we do, even squatting, lunging, this type of thing. So those are going to be helpful. In terms of loosening, if we're talking about lower back here, we're really looking at the musculature that sits near, generally speaking, that sits near your waistline. So we're looking at glutes, lower back, a lot of the hip musculature. So we want to make sure that we are stretching. Maybe you want to come and talk to me when you see me, but a lot of the musculature that surrounds sort of like where your leg inserts into your hip socket, so to speak. So we want to be doing things like working on mobility from the inside of the leg, the outside of the leg, the front and the back. And so there's lots of exercises we can do and stretches. I realize that me just saying that doesn't really help you, but just remind me and I can show you some of the stuff that you can do. Quite often, a lot of the warm-up stuff that we do in classes does incorporate some of this stuff. But in terms of hamstrings and quads, yeah, this might give you some relief, but I would say probably more lower back and hip musculature. Okay, so come and see me and I can help you more with that. How are we doing for time here? 6:41. All right, let's read one more here. First lift camp was Squat City Tuesday. I'm finally getting mobility back. I went as hard as I could. Was it too much? Well, too much can be really, one indication of being too much is if you're sore for like too long. If you're sore for more than 4 or 5 days, yeah, you maybe just did too much, maybe back off a bit. Although keep in mind that as time goes on, you're going to, acclimatize to this, for lack of better words. You're going to adjust. You're going to, your body will adjust to the intensity. I'm still bruised on the front shoulder from hugging the barbell in front squats. Will I toughen up? You will definitely toughen up. I guarantee you, you will toughen it up. It's all about, this challenge, by the way, is all about heart. That's all that matters. It's the amount of effort and will and determination that you have. It's all just choice at the end of the day. You will toughen up, believe me. My knees hated kneeling to squatting. Any suggestions? My knees hated kneeling to squatting. Maybe this was a warm-up that you did, I'm assuming. In general, I'm going to tell you this much for knees and squatting. Couple things. We want to make sure that we are engaging glutes when we are squatting. So you can think about getting that hip movement, that hinging of the hips, and then thinking about squeezing glutes when you're squatting. Another thing to think about is ankle mobility. With better ankle mobility, so stretching out your calves will help tremendously when squatting and reducing knee tension or knee pain. Okay, the amount of tension you're going to feel in your knees. So those two things, think about your ankles and think about utilizing or strengthening your glutes. Well, you're going to strengthen your glutes through throughout this challenge for sure. Stretch out your calves before class if we're going to squat. Makes a big difference. This will help your knees tremendously. Okay? All right, message of the day before I go over time here. Message of the day. On this day 20, easy doesn't change you. Easy doesn't change you. So a reminder that if you feel uncomfortable or if you don't feel uncomfortable and you've got room to progress, which I'm sure all of you do, you can always progress. Taking yourself to that point of discomfort is what will change you, right? It's also what will, what allows us to, I can't think of the better way of putting this than, puts, that saying, it puts chest on your hair, it puts chest on your hair, it puts hair on your chest. All right, it will help us to evolve more if we tackle the things that we're not comfortable with, which is a great reminder for myself too. Easy doesn't change you. So remember, when it's hard, within reason, obviously. When it's hard, this is expected, and this is what will allow us to grow in many ways. Not just musculature-wise, not just literally, but in other ways, right? We will grow, we will evolve, and we will become a much better, rounded, stronger person. Okay? Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, for the love of God, give some gratitude. And I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. See you guys.